Okay, hi everybody. It's Thursday night. It's time to learn something new. So welcome everybody. Let's see, what are we going to do tonight? Tonight we're going to start a series about doing some small gifts, and we're going to make a compact. So what you need for this project is you're going to need ordinary felt. Ordinary felt that I used, about 5 inches by 11 inches of it. This design is digitized for a 6 by 10 inch hoop or larger. And then you need some fabric for the background. I'm going to do it in pink. I'm on a pink kick right now. I'm not sure why. You need these mirrors. I got these mirrors at Michael's, and they're just what? They're 5 inch. They're 3 inch mirrors. And this is the scary part, is because these are glass mirrors. You can buy metal mirrors, but they're still dangerous to use with your sewing machine. But I'm going to show you how we're going to get these done. You need dissolve away mesh stabilizer, so it's got to completely go away. You also need a piece of regular cutaway stabilizer, again about a 5 by 11 inch piece. You need a microfiber cloth to clean the mirror, because it's kind of hard to clean the mirror once it's done. Let's see, you need a good sharp pair of scissors. You're going to need some water and a Q-tip. And you're going to need your needle thread and your bobbin thread to be the same, so you're going to wind your own bobbin. Now when I'm using dissolve away mesh stabilizer, and I'm only have that hooped, and I've already started it so we can get some of the stitching, because really it's kind of boring to watch somebody stitch. It helps to use these T-pins to hold it still. You see how this has a tendency to move because it's a very thin piece. So what I do is I take the T-pin, since one hit the floor, where did it go? It fell out over here. So what I do is I just simply slip it in the side between, next to the layers, and just push it in. And that, see, this is not, it's not moving at all, because when it's this thin, I've done a couple things. This right here is that plasticized tape or whatever, I don't know, or self-adhesive tape that you get when you get your blood drawn and they wrap it around your arm. That's what this stuff is. These are T-pins. You can get them a little smaller than this, actually work a little better. These are the ones for upholstery, but they work really well. You don't have to go all the way through. You just have to stick it through, because like these are not coming through on both ends. You know how it comes out under and up. Don't have to do that. But this works really well, and I got this technique from John Deere, and he's awesome. So anyway, so what first thing you do is that you hoop your stabilizer. And most of the time with applique, what you do is you have a placement stitch, then a tack down, and then you trim it away. This time, there is no placement stitch. And I'm going to show you real quick how I can figure out how much fabric to put in and where to put it in there. And so I'm going to start at the beginning. I'll go back to 0 and I'll show you how I did that on the machine. I advanced color stop number 3, and we'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, let me put this in the machine. It starts out with the tack down stitching. Since you don't know where's it going to go, how much fabric do you need to put down, and you run the risk of putting the fabric in the wrong place. So what you do on this machine is I'm going to go, okay, I went back to 0. I'm going to hit this little button that looks like a plus or a minus. Let me scoot this down a little bit so you can see it. A little better right there. Or it could be this one, icon, and your machine may be different. May have different icons in different places, so you want to find your positioning place. That's this one or that one. Either one is fine, as long as I get this 9-point thing. So I can go to this, and that moves my needle to the left-hand position, so I know this is the end of my design. So usually what I do is I'll get some chalk and mark that. Okay, then I'll go to the other side, and then I will mark, here's the needle, so if I cut it like this, alrighty, and I'm just chalking on the stabilizer. I'm coming down to the one at the bottom, right here, and then after that I'll go to the one at the top. So here's the one at the bottom, Here's my needle, so I'm going to come out this far. And then the top, here's my needle, so I'll come out a little further. So now I can see those chalk lines. So if I cut my piece of fabric, and my stabilizer, that's what I did. If I cut my stabilizer or piece of fabric a little bigger than that, I know it's going to fit, okay? Then what you can do right away is that you can go ahead and use your adhesive spray, and for this I wouldn't use anything but the KK2000. Why? Because it dissolves with air. Inside of 2 hours it'll be gone. That's what I recommend. Is that what I do? No, I usually just hold it while it does the stitch and just sort of stick my hands here and stitch it. So I had this piece of felt, and I'm using pink felt. Reason we're using felt is because we want that to be soft, because we want a little bit of stabilization. That's why, because it's a little bit thicker. We're using some coordinating fabric, and we're using some cutaway, so I need to give this a little bit of stiffness, but I don't want anything to scratch the mirror, so that's why I'm using felt. So the first thing it did is it did the outline here. It did this, but it didn't do it in a running stitch. It's what I digitized that so that it would do what they call a lightning stitch. Let's see if you can see that really. See, it's like a slight zigzag. So if you're digitizing and you're doing something, this is actually a better tack down, because I'm doing both the placement and the tack down at one time. I don't want extra stitching all over the place and extra thread hanging out. That's why I eliminated that. Because now this is good and stable. It's caught along the inner edge and on the outer edge, and therefore it's not likely to move on you. Okay, and then I cut this all the way around the outside, trimmed it away. Okay, so that was the, so let's go back. Okay, that was the first color stop, and see, here's it, that's the outline stitch. Then we go to the second one. Second color stop is going to be the decorative stitching, and on the instructions, I do have written instructions to this, so if you want the written instructions, send me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com and I'll send you the written instructions. The written instructions are for metallic thread, so it's going to stop and tell you to change your tensions and change your speed. Well, I don't care. Also, if you're just using regular thread, I probably would recommend putting Solvay on the top, you know, just to give it a little more something cuter, or even using a 30 weight thread instead of a 40 weight, something a little thicker, because the second color stop actually is this decorative stitching that I've already done, which is this around here and this, because that took some time. Okay, and then we're going to, now next is the third, now after it's done this, you're going to do a couple of things, okay. Now we're going to set the mirror. See how it's doing a circle? It's going to do a satin stitch. However, we need to pull the fabric out of the center without cutting the stabilizer. So like, because we need to do a sealing stitch on the inside. So we're actually doing the inside. So I'm going to slip this down and let me know if you can't see what I'm doing or if my big fat fingers are in the way. I'm going to just pick just a little bit and just take a tiny hole, and it helps to put your finger underneath of it so you know you're not going through, and give yourself, get a good slot cut to where you know you're all the way through the felt, but you're not going through the stabilizer. I'm feeling this with my finger underneath as I'm cutting it. It helps to use a curved scissor. Okay, now, see, I've got stabilizer. If you cut your stabilizer, it really isn't the end of the world. What you can do is take another piece of this wash away stabilizer and just dampen it a little bit and stick it together and just patch the hole. And let it dry. Let it dry thoroughly, because if it's damp, it's going to gum up your needles. So I'm going to cut this as close as I can. I have to turn it, sorry. Here. do it in the confines of the space. And that's why I like the curved scissors. You don't want to cut the stitching, but you still want to leave the stabilizer here. Okay. Now you definitely at this point want to make sure that you have the same thread in the needle and in the bobbin. Let me move those pins, put this back in the machine. Now, if you have problems with these pins getting caught and not wanting to go through the slot, what you can do is just take those out and just put one or two. This one isn't so much bothering it, so we're good. I'm using the 7 by 11 hoop from my Elegante, but you could use the 10.5 by 10.5 inch hoop, or the 7 by 11. That'll all work. A 6 by 10 works. Okay, so now I'm doing the third color stop, which is going to do the satin stitch all around the edge. Wasn't. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to take this out, and let me come over here, and because now I'm going to cut the circle out. Okay, I'm going to cut this as close as I can. Yeah, you can see me here. Doesn't have to be perfect. What I like about this is now it's finishing the edge. And we still have that little bit, but I'll show you how to get rid of that without drenching it. Sorry, I keep getting, let's see, get the last little bit. And if you have any threads hanging out, trim them. Got a few little threads to trim away. Then here's another, what you need to get rid of that extra little bit is if you just get a Q-tip. There's a Q-tip, and I'm going to just dip it in some water. Not super drenched, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to run this along the edges very lightly. I don't want it drenched. I just want to dissolve that stabilizer, and see how it just dissolves, and so you can see that little bit, especially against the white. Get a little more water. And that's just dissolving the edges of it without wetting the whole thing, which we don't want to do. That would be a disaster. The reason you got to do this now, because you can't do this later without drenching your mirror and gumming up your mirror, which means that's something you got to clean. And it's hard to clean these mirrors. Well, it won't be as thorough. Okay, and that gets the rest of it. Okay, and let me... Now, we're going to do a couple things. We'll close the lid on that water. Okay. I need a pen, and I need a piece, that cutaway stabilizer. Okay. Like that. I'm going to trace my opening. I'm just taking a pen, if you can see. I do this out, hands out of the mirror, out of the way. And sometimes what I will do is I will take a couple pins or tape or whatever, get another pin just over here, just to hold it. And I shifted it. I want to put that back in line just to hold it, because I just want to turn this over for a second, and I just want to use just the light to just to trace the outer edge. Just gives you a rough idea, and it's just chalk, or you can use that heat away stuff. This just shows me what the shape is, and I only have to do the bottom one. Okay? Alrighty. And now I'm going to take the pins out. And I'm going to take the KK2000 spray. Come on. Ah. Alright. See, that leaves that little line. If you want to, you can make this one darker, but it's not necessary. I just in case I need it. And I'm going to spray right around the mirror, where the mirror goes. I'm going to center this, and I might turn it over to see if I got it. See, I turn it over just to see if I've got it centered, and I don't. I want it centered on that line. There. Now it's going to stay. Okay. Now I'm going to spray the back here. Not drench it, because I don't want this to dissolve. Okay, and now I've got to stand up to get this on here. If I can do this. Okay. I want to center that. You can, right here I think is where it goes. There. You can feel if it's centered, and you should feel it right around the outside edge of that motif, and just press it down. Okay, put this back in the hoop. Make sure this doesn't shift on you. Yeah, just shift it on me. No, don't do that. Come on, there we go. Place it back in here. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is this is going to do the circles around. Next stitch is going to stitch. See these two circles right there? And I'm going to do that very carefully. So I'm going to lower this, and I am going to keep my fingers right here. Okay? Ready to turn it off. As soon as it approaches, I can feel where that mirror is. You don't want to strike the mirror, because A, it's going to break, it's going to splinter. I do recommend you wear some kind of safety glasses when you're doing this, just in case. I've never had it happen, nor have I had any of my students have broken the glass, but I don't want to take any chances. Okay, and then I'm going to, let's see, where are you going? Be ready to turn it off. Where are you going? Okay, it's going around that circle. Okay, I can rest there. Okay. You don't know where you're going. Oh, okay, it's going to stitch around there. Okay. And here I'm going, I might even just let it go for a little bit and stop. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right, it's all good. Whew. Okay, I can relax now. Okay. Okay, now I'm ready to put in my fabric. underneath. So this is well on here. It's not going to shift unless you shake it around. Just be gentle with it. Okay, and I'm going to cut away that extra on the outside. Okay, I'm going to cut the stabilizer away, and if you can see that, yeah, from both circles. I want it fairly close to the stitching line. This is easier done on a table than in the middle of the be careful between the layers. Just want that little bit of stiffness in here. If you wanted to, you could even, if you wanted it to be thicker, you could actually use like a Timtex or Peltex or something really thick, or Decker Bond, anything to give it a little more body if you like. Okay, and while I have this open, I'm going to spray the back again. And let's see if I get this close. It'll be fine. You just have to be careful here. It's going to flip under. Okay. Okay. And now this is going to tack down the outer edge. It's far away from the mirror, so we don't have to really worry. Okay, so now I'm tacking it down, the back anyway. Again, it's doing that zigzag tack down. Just gives it more stability. Now I did raise my foot a little bit. See, I'm getting a little flagging here, and that's okay. It's not causing any skip stitches or anything. The reason I raised the foot a little bit on my settings page is so that I would not hit this mirror or knock into it and crack it. That'd be my luck, to have the whole thing done and then a foot fall on the mirror by accident and make a mess. And it's going to go all the way around. Okay, while that's stitching, let's talk about some of these other gift type things that you can, blanks you can sew on. Okay. Now this one, I think if you go to John Deere's Adorable Ideas site, you can still get that. It's a whole different set. That's, I mean, that's really old. Before 2011. Here's the... Now this is supposed to be a lighted mirror compact. However, it doesn't light up anymore. Well, it's trying to, but the batteries are dead on it. It's trying to light. It's not. So, but whatever is that this opens up. And I put it back in the wrong place when I was looking at it. There. This pops out, and then you can take the paper out, and then now you can put your design in here, and it's gonna, and then put it back, and then it gives you a really cute little design. The only problem with this is that you have to have a relatively flat design. And I gotta find out where that goes back in there. There it is. Helps to put it in there correctly. There, and then this just clips back and goes. There we go. Okay. That one is gonna be. You have to have something fairly flat. You can't have any three-dimensional design. How much to raise the foot? I think. Let me see. What did I raise it at? My settings page. Well, this one's at 0.6, so it's fine. I usually keep mine a little lower when I'm doing flat stuff, but the 0.06 is the default. So for this one, it actually worked. You know, most of the time, well, for most flat things, I usually go down to 0.4. It gives it a little bit more room. Okay, so now this part, there we go. Next, we're going to do is trim the outside edge. Here, I'll cut this off camera because it'll just go a lot faster. Okay. Sometimes you can actually go fairly fast if you pull towards the stitching. You can get closer to it. And because this is a zigzag tack down, you don't have to be so careful because you know it's going to catch on one side at least. Now see, now that's, see right here, that's just too far away. I got to trim that down. Now if I have to trim something down, I stick my finger underneath of it, and that way you can get that little bit. This is for, you know, me and compacts don't get along unless I'm checking that. I used to use compacts a lot when my kids were small because that way I could look in the back seat to see what they were doing and them not know it. This way I could convince them that I had eyes in the back of my head. I was just... I know when we were stationed overseas, I had my kids convinced I had spies all over the island because we were in the Azores. That, you know, but little did they know the whole island is one big spy because, you know, if your kids are doing something, the window women will let you know in a heartbeat. Like one time they were throwing throwing rocks at the neighbor's goats. Some little old lady came to my door and in Portuguese told me, your kids are throwing rocks. I'm like, okay, I'll go get them. They used to also torment the neighbor's rooster. They used to dig holes and the rooster would chase them. They would tease them and then the rooster would chase them and they would dig holes and put cow patties inside the holes and cover it with straw. Jump over where they knew they had done mean things. They were terrible. Okay, I think the first thing it's going to do is it's going to do a sealing stitch, but I don't want to do the buttonhole because you can use a button and a buttonhole and have it already do that, but I don't want it to do that, so I'm going to skip over that. And it's right there, so see the little, it's hard to see this little green dot right here? Or it's a little green cross. On this machine, you know where you're. Yeah, you can see the little green right there, so I'm going to advance it until it's no longer there. Goodness, that's a lot of stitching. Okay, I went too far now. Okay, we're back on the buttonhole. See, the green cross is still there. We go. Now we're on another part of it. Now the green cross is up here. So I am going to let it stitch from there. Had a jump stitch anyway. I probably should have changed the color, but I didn't. Okay. And now, if you're afraid it's slipped, always check it as it approaches. going through a lot of thicknesses. That's why the machine sounds a little noisy. Done. Yay. Okay. Okay. Well, I like to get this out of here is using my seam ripper. It actually works and works the best. I can get really close. Let's see. Come this way. And it doesn't, you don't accidentally cut your thread. Okay, let me pull this out more. So that gets it really pretty close. May have to cut the last little bit with scissors. Let's see. Sometimes I get lucky. Haha. Okay. Another reason I like to do it this way. I have a nice hole in the middle, so you know what I do is take my rotary cutter and some wash away thread and I zigzag the two pieces together so I have another one. Okay, and so now, here we go. I will take the water and do this on the edge again. Scoot away. And then I will put a snap here and a snap here. Right here, and it'll be done. And that way it can go in your purse, and it's fairly soft, and it's not yet, it's sturdy enough. Although I think the Timtex makes it even sturdier. I think the next time I do one, I will use my Peltex, Timtex, whatever, as that cutaway stabilizer, so it'll be nice and firm. So that will be nice. So yeah, there's a, we'll just clip it and just leave it like that for now, or pin it. I'll pin it for now, and then I'll put a snap. I'm just going to use those plastic snaps. And now, cute little compact. And now it's a cute little gift. I like that better than the pouches that you put something in, because, you know, I inevitably lose the pouch. Okay? Yes, it's great for a friend or a sister, or even yourself, or a new mother, because this could, like, sit in the car and then you go, yeah, I know what you're doing. Like, keep your hands off your brother. So, okay. So you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye.